Good morning. Welcome back from our adjournment from at 9:15. And for our residents, we had a special committee meeting this morning at 8:15, which went to about, I think, 9:13, I think, Councillor Augustine, it closed. And under local government legislation, we have to open our ordinary council meeting within 15 minutes of the promulgated start time. So we opened it at 9:15 and had a 10-minute recess, and we're back. So I'll start off firstly with calling attendance, and good morning everyone. All councillors are in attendance. And I'll move on now to the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, the customs, the cultures and stories of proud people. This morning our opening prayer is with Pastor John Meath from the Vision Christian Family Church. If I could ask Pastor John to come up to the lectern, please. So, welcome, Pastor John. So, I'll just turn the light on, the button on the. Thank you. Please introduce yourself, your church, but also you tell me some news about your future as well.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I represent Vision Christian Family. I'm the pastor there at North Bevelle. Been there for 5 or so years. And this might be my last chance to address this meeting because I'm actually retiring in a month or so. As much as pastors are allowed to retire, but I'll have a crack at it. So we're handing over to another fellow, Pastor Tom Anderson, in about a month's time. So I'm looking forward to that, I think, and not looking forward, as you understand. But being this probably last chance to pray in this meeting, I just do want to thank the Mayor and all the councillors for the support, not just that our church has received, but the churches generally receive from the city in what we do. And I think many people often see the church as being just another service organisation, and we are that, but of course we see ourselves as being far greater than that in our ministry. But I certainly would like to thank this council for the support I've had. I've been a pastor in a number of different areas, Melbourne, in particular, a few churches there in Melbourne, and I can say the support that I've had with this council has been probably as good as any, if not better, than we've ever received. And in particular, I'd like to thank the council for their annual support over the past few years of our Family Fun Day through their community events, funding grants. We're able to serve 900 Ipswich residents on that day with a fun and free family event. And that's certainly substantially funded by the grant that we received. So we really thank you for that generous support. So that having been said, I think I'll pray for the meeting. Thank you. Father God, we thank you for this gathering today. In your Bible, you have said that we should always pray for those who exercise governance in whatever community we find ourselves a part of. So in such a prayer, we pray for the individuals concerned in civic decision making, and especially our councillors here today, but also the City Council staff who assist and carry out this governance. And we all know that decision making on a community level is never easy. There's lots of interests and preferences in the community. So we humbly ask for your enabling wisdom, your grace and your guidance upon every one of our elected members here today. And we extend a blessing to our community as a whole. We understand, particularly this time with the fuel crisis, that many of our people in our city do struggle to meet the demands of daily life. So I pray that the work of this council overflows into a tangible blessing upon each and every person who calls our city their home. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor John. Thank you to the Vision Christian Family Church who do so much in our community, apart from the Family Fun Day, the wonderful craft and patchwork group that you have there as well. And Pastor John, I don't know if pastors ever truly retire, but whatever happens in your next chapter, thank you so much for your blessings to our community and the work that you have done over many years in Ipswich. Thank you so much. Item 4 are apologies and leave of absence, and there are none. Item 5, condolences, there are none. Item 6, tributes, there are none. 7, presentation petitions, there are none. Item 8, presentations and deputations. Deputy Mayor Nicole Johnnick will be making a presentation to the CEO. I'll hand over to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to present to the CEO, to Council, and to the organisation as a whole, the Australian Institute of Architects Queensland President's Prize, which Ipswich City Council was awarded on the 26th of February 2026. So Ipswich is known for its rich heritage, our Queenslanders, civic buildings and well-designed public spaces. But this award recognises how we are shaping our future. In 2024, Council appointed our first city architect, Mark Tenders, or Mark T, bringing over 25 years of experience into a role that now sits within our city design team. Mark is a highly respected architect, and it was clear on the evening how well regarded he is by his peers across the profession. We are fortunate to have someone of his calibre contributing to Ipswich. Because good design isn't just about how a place looks, it's about how it works. It shapes how our communities feel, connect and function over time. The creation of this role was a deliberate city-shaping decision, embedding design excellence, heritage, identity, sustainability, all into how we plan and deliver for Ipswich. And it is particularly meaningful to have this recognised by the Australian Institute of Architects, the peak body for the profession, as a strong endorsement of the direction we are taking as council. I'd like to acknowledge Mark and the city design team and everyone involved in establishing this role. I'm proud to present this award to council today. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Johnnick, for representing our city at the awards night in Brisbane. I really appreciate that. It had a bit of an unusual dress code as well, didn't it? It was
It did.
artsy
It's
formal or something? I don't know.
creative formal.
Creative formal.
So I stole one of my daughter's horse T-shirts, wore it under
a
a
nice
suit.
suit.
It's creative.
It was-
No, of course not.
It looked fantastic, but thank you very much for representing our
Limited
city.
time, guys. That's what you got to do, okay?
Thank you. I'll move on now to item 9, public participation. There is none. Item 10, matters of public interest. There are none. We'll now move on to item 11, declarations of interest on the agenda. I have not been informed of any, but are there any declarations? No, but if something pops up, please let me know. Item 12 is confirmation of the minutes. So I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 26th of February 26 be confirmed. Do I have a second of that? Thank you, Councillor Martin. Any errors, omissions, amendments? No, I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. Is everyone except... It's everyone. Thank you. Item 13, mayoral minute, there is none. Item 14, business outstanding, there is none. So now we'll go to the reception and consideration of the committee reports. And the first one is 15.1, the report of the Infrastructure Planning and Assets Committee of the 17th of March 2026. And I'll hand over to the chair of that committee, Councillor Anthony Lee. How would you like this report managed?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the Infrastructure Planning and Assets Committee number 2026-02 of the 17th of March 2026 for reception and adoption.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that?
Apologies.
Thank
Can I actually ask you to move it with the exclusion of item... can I? Apologies. I'll add it
the
as
next
an
committee. No?
I'll add it as an amendment later. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have a mover and
Yes, we
Councillor
don't
Tully
have a seconder
as the
yet.
deputy chair of this, do you wish to second this? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Anthony, do you wish to speak to the report?
I would, but I'm wondering whether, since it's been mentioned about an amendment, it might be best to seek that amendment first
Okay.
before,
Sure.
yeah.
Does someone have an amendment?
Apologies, I do. I'm just
Yes.
bringing it up now.
Which item?
And it was for the item 7, which is the response to the
petition?
petition in relation to the pedestrian crossing. And I'm so sorry.
Can I just apologise? These interim microphones, well, we have the upgrade, don't have a microphone or projection capacity. They just record, so I actually can't quite hear you, Deputy Mayor, sorry.
Apologies. I am just sending the amendment to Vicky now, but I'll read
Thank you.
out the amendment recommendations. That a pedestrian crossing on Jones Road, Bellbird Park, near the Redbank Plains Scout Den is not installed for the following reasons. The current 60-kilometre speed limits on Jones Road does not support the requirements for a pedestrian crossing. Jones Road is a sub-arterial road and its main function is to facilitate efficient traffic movements. A pedestrian crossing would not improve pedestrian safety under the existing traffic conditions. Extensive and costly infrastructure upgrades would be required to facilitate a compliant crossing facility. And B, that the Chief Petitioner be advised of the outcome of this report. And the proposed addition is C, that Council investigate as a matter of priority an alternative solution by way of a concrete footpath on the western side of Jones Road from near the intersection of Jones Road and Harris Street south to the Redbank Plains Scout Hut, which is in Bellbird Park. Thank you.
Do you mind adding the suburb? Is it?
Would that be better?
Oh,
as
it's already there.
recommendation
It's already
B?
in there in the recommendation A.
Councillor Johnnick, Deputy Mayor Johnnick, would that be better as recommendation B perhaps? And then make B
Yes.
C? And if that's
Oh.
the case, I'm,
Yep.
as
I'll
the mover, I'm happy to support
Okay.
that if the seconder does.
I think I probably agree with Councillor. It probably flows a little bit better.
Yep,
Is it
no,
okay?
I'm
if we'll-
happy with that,
So
thank you.
the recommendation C that the Deputy Mayor put up, make that recommendation B. And C. I'll just check if Councillor Tully is okay with that.
Yes, I accept that amendment.
Okay, we'll just wait till Secretariat finish that and then we'll have it so everyone can see the recommendation in full. Okay, it's there and I think you'll just capitalise the nouns. Yep. Okay. So the mover and the seconder were happy with that? So Councillor Antonelli, do you wish to continue on with your report?
Yeah, so I take it that's part of the
Yes.
substantive report now here, the recommendations. Okay, just in relation to this matter and just very, very briefly, I just wish to speak to, very briefly, the matter of the provisional projects, item 2. And I know that Councillor Doyle will speak to it as well. Just for the benefit of those people who are watching, present or in the gallery, provisional projects are, to a degree, just a discretionary project by councillors that are usually brought to us by members of the community that can be determined by councillors and then by the council as a whole. And in this case, we have albeit it is only a small improvement in Division 3, Byron Division and Councillor Doyle's division, of the dog bowl outside the Ipswich Nature Centre. But there have been numerous other projects in previous meetings, and no doubt there will be more to come in the future of projects that have been requested by the community. It is the local councillor's responsibility and duty to investigate these matters and then put them forward as a provisional project. And I commend members of the community, if they do have matters where they think improvements can be done to their community, to speak to their divisional councillors about that, as this is, albeit a small budget, an opportunity for these sorts of things to be implemented in their community. So in this matter, it is only, again, a $3,000 expenditure, but worthwhile contribution considering the number of people who walk through Queen's Park and walk through with their beloved pet. I now move to just briefly speak to item 7, and we've just heard an amendment there. I have had previous discussions with the divisional councillors on that, so with respect to this amendment, wasn't necessarily a surprise to me. We did hear Councillor Johnnick particularly raise the issue of the possibility of a footpath at that location to improve pedestrian safety. But I will leave the remainder of it to be for the divisional councillors to speak to. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Councillor Tully, do you wish to speak to the report?
Could I just defer to Councillor?
Okay. Very gentlemanly. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. I just think there is more ways to skin a cat than just looking at the obvious, and the investigation of a footpath on that western side where there's a signalised intersection there on Jones and Harris. I do often see young children walking and crossing Jones Road as part of the early learning centre, and so I think this may be a simple solution to aid the safety, but I'm asking if the council today approves the organisation to look into that as an option. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tully.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The original recommendation is certainly correct in terms of the installation of a pedestrian crossing in an area, as noted, is 60 kilometres per hour. The requirements are a dual sort of requirements, a certain number of vehicles and a certain number of pedestrians. It's not highly pedestrianised near the Redbank Plains Scout Den, which is, as Councillor Madsen said, is actually in the suburb of Bellbird Park. But the proposal put forward by Councillor Jonik has got a lot of merit. But I just say this, that I think the distance is, there's a short section of existing concrete footpath from the corner of Harris Street just to the south, maybe only 70 or 80 metres to service the bus stop there, and it would be another 250 or so metres south to the Scout Den. I had a look yesterday, and we all know that projects of this nature don't just get approved in a few weeks or even a few months, so it could be some time. But I think with slight grading of the existing grassed footpath just might be an interim solution. There are a couple of sections there where it wouldn't be easy for pedestrians to use, and the petition relates specifically or primarily to young people using that. So I'll raise separately the possibility of an interim thing, just ensuring the footpath is graded. What I call the grass verge area is graded appropriately, which would be a very cheap and interim solution. Because the bottom line is that at the corner of Harris Street and Jones Road, there is a pedestrian crossing, a signalised crossing, so it's much safer to pass there rather than, or to cross there rather than further south. I won't say in the middle of nowhere because, but there's no immediate houses except one's backing onto it. So drivers speed along there quite regularly. So I think this is a good ultimate solution, and I'll speak to Councillor Jonik about getting that area graded in the meantime.
Thank you. Any other people would like to discuss item 15.1? No? Councillor Jelly, no one was against anything, but would you like a right of reply?
Sorry, Mayor,
yes,
if
Councillor
I may, before Councillor Antonelli.
Just make sure you put your hand up, because obviously we don't have the lights on. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. No, I just want to concur with my fellow councillors' comments around the provisional project for the delivery of the dog bowls, and we've got a lot more projects planned, so we're both really excited to see these come through the queue and deliver for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Jelly, any final words?
Yeah, just obviously a bit of discussion around dogs and cats, but I just hope we don't get a complaint from Peter. It is my understanding that the Deputy Mayor has actually never skinned a cat. So,
Okay, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. We'll move on to item 15.2, the report of the Finance and Governance Committee of the 17th of March 2026. Councillor Tully, as the committee chair, how would you like this report managed?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll move that the Finance and Governance Committee report number 2026-02 of the 17th of March 2026 be received and the recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Do you wish to speak to the report, Councillor
Yes, please. Several items. Firstly, item 2, which was discussed in some detail at the committee. It's headed the disposal of freehold land for the Energy Queensland Community Batteries project. This is an interesting project. It goes back to when it commenced on the 15th of June 2023, done by Energy Queensland, but in South East Queensland, trialled for the first time by Energex in the city of Ipswich. And there are 4 locations where these batteries, it's called the Ipswich Neighbourhood Battery Trial, 4 locations. First one is at Cedar Road, Redbank Plains. The next one is the Kevin Mulroney Drive, Flinders View, Columbia Drive, Bellbird Park, and Alisana Drive, Bellbird Park. This is where energy is stored during the day, energy that's coming from individual homes and stored during the day and then put back into the grid. The advice we received at the committee and in the report was that it's very successful, and I'd certainly like to see this continuing not only in our city. And in the report that we received, they're indicating that there are other areas in Queensland which are being considered for this: Cairns North, Caloundra, Caboolture, Pimpamar and Maruka and other locations, based on the success of and the insights gained from the Ipswich trial. This gives the Energex a permanent foothold, and it's just a small structure that's already there. Looks like what I call and what people call just a small on the edge of the park normally. And I think it's a great project, something we should encourage, and it shows the evolving nature in our community of electricity and supply of electricity, home storage, but this is an alternative view of the neighbourhood storage where it goes back into the community. The next item I'd like to talk to is item 3 on page 44 of the report. That's related, but quite a different situation. It's a recommendation to grant an easement to Energex for the supply of electricity to the Ipswich Motorsport precinct at Willowbank. We're recommending that be granted, and that will improve and enhance and provide a guaranteed permanent supply to that facility, and the committee is recommending that proceed. Item 4 is a recommendation, the delegation to the CEO to enter into a contract for the supply of small contestable site electricity. That's through the local buy arrangement. Some of these contestable sites require decisions to be made in a short period of time. It's just another example in paragraph B of that recommendation on page 45. It's $3.4 million over a term of approximately 3 years. They're the sorts of costs, and I've said this before, massive costs in a way, which the public might not be aware of. But this is to ensure that the timeframes are met where the situation arises where a quick decision needs to be made. And I think this is good for the city, and it's just an option to be aware. And I think the issue raised by Councillor Antonelli, I think it was this report, that we just get a report back, or advice back, not a report, advice back when this delegation is exercised, so that we as councillors are aware that that contract has been entered into. Item 6 on page 48, that's concession for general rates on 3 properties, and these are 100% concession for general rates. The 3 properties are community housing at Bouval, a women's crisis support service incorporated in the Westmoreton Migrant Resource Service, at Riverview, where a facility is being provided. These comply with the state legislation and the council policy, and I guess it'd be fair to say that these are not-for-profit organisations of a charitable nature, and the committee recommended unanimously that we grant those concessions of general rates of 100% to the date when the application was originally made. The other item is item 7 on page 49. That's fees and charges for 2026-27. This is not the budget, but it relates to the budget. The fees and charges in this particular case refer to animal management, public health, food business and road regulation licences. These need to be determined in advance so that licence renewal can be done this financial year prior to the 1st of July. The early adoption of these will do that. The rest of the fees, according to the report, will be provided at the council meeting on the 28th of May. Most of the increased charges relate to CPI increases or cost of living increases. I guess cost of living is probably not the right word for local government. It's cost of delivery in a lot of cases for local government, every local government in Australia. Just as an example, for entire dogs, entire dogs, the proposed, the average sort of increase overall is about 4.5%. For entire dogs, it'd be 4.6%. Increase for de-sexed dogs, 4.1%. The other thing in relation, it's beyond dogs, it covers that range of issues that I said, but the standard fee for the first time registration of a dog is $20, and that's not proposed to be increased. So there will be another round of fees and charges at the end of May, as I said, prior to the adoption of the budget in June. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, as the seconder, do you wish to make any discuss
No, thank
anything?
you, Chair. I think Councillor Tully has covered it nicely.
Thank you. I prefer discussion amongst other councillors. No, in that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We now move on to item 15.3.
I'll move it, thank you.
Do you wish to speak to the report? No. Councillor Augustine, do you wish to speak to the report?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Just quickly going to highlight the success of the Active and Healthy 2025 report card. Again, I was the judge of the Easter Bonnet Parade at the Ryan Lagoons last aqua class before the Easter holidays yesterday, and it was a great crowd, over 100 at least, and the community and the connection and that class has manifested can't be measured, and a lot of the participants were travelling not only from that Greater Springfield area, but a bunch of them were from Beval, Raceview, and other suburbs, and they just kind of travel and do these classes. So I just, I think it's a wonderful feather in our cap as a council to have these services that we offer, and it's I'm really proud of the organisation for doing this, for what little it costs to then what it actually transpires to, and I think it's like about $6 or something for a participant each if you break it all down, which is it's a fair price to pay for what we contribute. So yeah, thank you to the team. Thank you.
I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We move on to item 15.4, the report of the Economic and Cultural Development Committee of the 17th of March 2026. Councillor Augustine is the chair of that committee. How would you like this report managed?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I'd like to move that the report of the Economic and Cultural Development Committee, number 2026, of 17th of March, be received and noted for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Doyle seconding. Thank you. You wish to speak to the report?
Oh,
Councillor
yes,
Augustine?
please, Mayor. Item 2, the Spartan Trifecta Weekend is one of the biggest events on the Spartan calendar. This is the second time Ipswich will be hosting. After attracting more than 2,500 competitors and visitors to Ivory's Rock in 2025. Noting there was 92% of visitors and competitors from outside of Ipswich, which boosts our tourism industry. The sponsorship will ensure Ipswich is on the map as a major Southeast Queensland destination, which only will benefit our tourism industry. The event is expected to have about 6,000 visitors and athletes to descend on our city for the OCR community. And what I would also like to put on the record is that I know that the OCR is, so that's the obstacle course racing, so the Spartan is, has been flagged to be a new offering to the 2028 LA Games. And if it is, maybe it's 2032. And I must say, Ipswich is looking pretty good. And we open up our doors to the Olympic Games if this was to be on the cards, because Ipswich is an amazing place to host a Spartan event. So, thank you, Mayor. And then item 4, just the Capabero official opening is expected to be in the immediate coming days. They have had a soft opening, so feel free to go up and have a bubble tea, which they're quite delicious. So, but the grand opening will be shortly. I also note that we have had briefings on the Metro A site just to explore some opportunities with all councillors, so we'll expect to see more planning around that site. So, and then to finish off, I know the team have been working with our social media presence, which I am all for, because if you don't know we're here, you don't know. But really looking forward to seeing how we can work in that space to, showcase our Nicholas Street precinct a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councillor Doyle, as the seconder, do you wish to speak to the report?
Thank you, Chair. That was a very comprehensive wrap-up by Chair, so I concur with Councillor Augustine's comments, so I won't add to that. Hear, hear.
I'll open it to the councillors for any other discussion. Yes, Councillor Tully?
Just briefly, Mayor, in relation to item 3, which is the quarterly event sponsorship report, and these items have come before council before, but I'll just touch on one in Division 2. That's the Springfield Carols, where we're granting a total of $50,000 over to 2025, 26 and 27 for the Springfield Christmas carols. But the big change for this year will be the change in venue from Rebel Domain through to the Brighton Homes Arena, which will enable many more people to go in there. A great facility, very central in the eastern suburbs. And as I say, this has been before council previously, but with probably not reporting that change in venue, and that covers the major Christmas carols for the eastern suburbs. So I'm pleased to see this reported again, and I'll probably have more to say between now and December this year.
Wonderful. Any other discussion? Councillor Augustine, anything else to say? There was no rebuttal.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Move on to item 15.5, the report of the Environment and Sustainability Committee of the 17th of March 2026. Councillor Madden, as the committee chair of that committee, how would you like this report managed?
Mayor, I'd like Council to adopt the recommendations of the Environment and Sustainability Committee, number 2026-02
So can we... Okay. I'll get you to repeat that if that's okay for the microphone.
Still getting
that's
used to the new microphones, and I'll use my best voice.
How would you like this report managed?
I would like Council to adopt the recommendations of the Environment and Sustainability Committee number 2026-02 of the 17th of March 2026.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Antonelli. Would you like to speak to the report?
Yeah, I'd just like to highlight a couple of items in the report, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to highlight the Ipswich Cane Toad Challenge that was held in January and February of this year. 44 groups participated in the challenge. They included school groups, community members, family groups. It was really great. Figures were kept as to how many cane toads and baby cane toads were collected. 41,000 cane toads were collected and 36,000 small cane toads were collected. There was an event held on the 31st of January at the Hague Street Quarry, and which I attended, but I'd like to also thank the other councillors who attended that event, and they included yourself, Mayor, Councillor Antonelli and Councillor Martin. It was a great night, and I think I'd like to thank Watergum, who we partnered with the 2026 Ipswich City Council Cane Toad Challenge. Just one other thing I'd like to mention, Mayor. I'd like to thank the Ipswich Climate Action Group for their climate change petition, which is dealt with in the report. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Shelley, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the report?
Yeah, I just might speak to the cane toad challenge as well. And as I looked around the room, I noticed that both councillors Augustine and Doyle squirmed quite a bit about the idea of picking up cane toads. And can I just highlight that when I was very young, I was terrified of cane toads. But a cane toad challenge, certainly during that, there was, if anyone has any fear of cane toads, I would suggest that go and try the cane toad challenge. There was about 800 cane toads actually collected that night, some almost twice the previous record we've had for a challenge, one-night challenge. And even though some of them were only fairly small, maybe as big as your thumbnail, the positive is that those small ones don't become the big cane toads that produce multiple offspring and cause and create enormous challenges for us with our native fauna. So it was a significant event, very successful, I should say. And yes, it was good to see a turnout. But ladies, you can put on gloves. So.
Sorry, through you, Chair. Yeah. Councillor Antonelli, it's not the look of them. It's when they leap. Oh, it's just something about them.
Yes. Sorry. That's okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Correct. In the Councillor Martin informs me that in the minutes he's not recorded as an observer, but he was an observer at the meeting of the
CEO, we can make sure that's
of the committee.
Thank you.
As a second, I'm happy to accept that amendment.
There's no amendment. It's a administrative. It's all good. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Tully.
Yeah, I just want to add something about cane toads. As a beekeeper, and any beekeeper knows, and you would have observed that most hives are kept above ground, perhaps half to 3/4 of a metre, for a number of reasons, but nowadays principally because of cane toads. They, if they're on the ground, they can sit there and they can decimate a colony over a very quick period of time with their tongue just, I've actually seen them, they can bang the hive in the evening. I use some pretty colourful language around my beehives at Augustine Heights if I see quite colourful language, which I'm sure Councillor Johnnick hasn't heard me use publicly. But they can actually affect the beekeeping industry. And I've actually seen photographs of one very large cane toad and another on top of them just to give them a bit of extra height to get out and lick the bees and literally decimate a colony. And that's why you see beehives on stands, and it's not just because people don't like them or they're just hanging around. They do have an effect on one of our primary industries.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Councillor Madden, anything to summarise? Okay. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. It's now 10:03. I propose that we adjourn to 10:33. I have a seconder for that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Put that to the vote. Those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. See you back at 10:33. Thank you. Thank you. It's at 10:33. Welcome back. We've just had a 30-minute adjournment. We're now up to item 16.1, the CEO's Organisation Performance Report for February 2026. Does anyone have any questions of the CEO on the report? In that case, I will move it. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. In speaking to it, I'll just note, I'll see what page is on, a spelling error, I think page 82. It says game on, great, it should be games on with an S. CEO, it's positive to see the accessibility works at Limestone Park completed with a new accessibility pathway and upgrades undertaken in connection with the Eastern Car Park with Bill Patterson Oval. I think this is a great step forward in fostering greater participation in sports, especially for our para-athletes, which is one of the key legacy outcomes of the Brisbane 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Also note the success of the city's inaugural Cane Toad Challenge, which we discussed at the Environment Sustainability Committee, and also just before the adjournment there was a bit of discussion in that committee report as well. It's been hugely popular with the Ipswich community, and it's also beneficial in managing this invasive species in a humane way. And finally, I can't miss an opportunity to again highlight the announcement of the construction of the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel for the Ipswich City Centre. This is a $53 million investment by the private sector and will create obviously construction jobs, but on an ongoing manner will be 50 permanent jobs right here in the Ipswich CBD with over 160 rooms in that development. It's a huge vote of confidence in the Nicholas Street precinct in our city as a whole, and it's been widely celebrated amongst our community as well. Councillor Doyle, do you have anything you'd like to, as a seconder, do you have anything you'd like to say about the report?
No, thank you.
No, I'll open it to other councillors for any comments, discussion. No. In that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous and carried. 16.2 is the Ipswich to Springfield Central Public Transport Corridor Project, progression to detailed business case. There's recommendations A and B. The recommendations are that A, that council note and consider the recommendation that has been made on the scope of the detailed business case for the Ipswich to Springfield Central Public Transport Corridor, and B, that council agree to the recommended scope of the Ipswich to Springfield Central Public Transport Corridor project to be progressed to a detailed business case. I'd just like to note there's another typo, CEO, in the subject, transport is misspelt, if we can have that. I also note that
Apologies, Chair. We'll get that corrected. Apologies.
I note that we're under confidentiality obligations with the state government and the federal government, who are the co-contributors to this. So I guess I'll look at, do we go into closed session to discuss that? Or? Yeah, okay. So I move that in accordance with section 254J3. G, negotiations led to a commercial, no, sorry, I apologise for that. I, under a matter of local government requiring to keep confidential under law of formal arrangement with the Commonwealth or state, that we move into a closed session to discuss item 16.2, the Ipswich to Springfield Central Public Transport Corridor Project, progression to detailed business case. Do I have a seconder for that? I think Councillor Martin seconded that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Harrison, let me know when we're in closed. Thank you. We're just out of closed session. It's now 11:20, and we had I guess a very long discussion on matters. And as part of, I think, Councillor Doyle, you'd like to propose recommendation C.
Thank you, Chair.
It's up there if you would like to read it out.
Yeah, I propose that we amend the recommendation to incorporate C, that council will continue to advocate for the project and the appropriate funding required.
Okay, I will second that. Thank you. So the live 3 recommendations before us, as you see them there. Noting the highly confidential nature and the 3 levels of government rules that we have to follow in the city deal. Any discussion? In that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's unanimous and carried. Thank you, and thank you very much for the very considered discussion and robust discussions behind closed doors. Thank you. We now have 4 notices of motion. That's unusual today. So the very first one is from myself and the Deputy Mayor. It's a notice of motion for the Deputy Mayor to be the Council of Mayors SEQ delegation to Singapore. It comes to myself. It can only go to myself or the alternate director, which is the Deputy Mayor. It's just 2 weeks before we bring down a budget, but we don't want to lose that opportunity to our city. So the Deputy Mayor has also indicated, if this council's okay with it, that they'll proceed. The cost is not being borne by council, apart from, I think, probably a few little incidentals. I think, as outlined, council is not required to cover the cost of incidentals such as travel insurance, international roaming for work-related devices, occasional meals and local parking. So very minor. So I'd like to move that. I think, Deputy Mayor, you'll second that. Thank you. I'll open up for discussion.
Just wanted to add that I, if approved, would look forward to attending along with the mayors from Moreton City, Logan, the Lockyer Valley, Toowoomba, Scenic Rim. Did I forget any? And I only eat the free food and I only catch the public transport.
Which is excellent in Singapore. Thank you. And I appreciate you also doing that. Thank you. I'll put any other questions? Oh, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, these trips are actually like part of the benefits we receive as part of the membership that we actually pay to ComSec. So I think we do indirectly pay for them, and for that reason I'm supportive of the motion, because it would be a waste not to send anyone. And I think it's great that our council be represented on this trip.
I'll just find out if this one is actually paid for by ComSec or is it from another organisation. I'm looking at my chief of staff. Okay, so I've been told the World City Summit fund the conference, but ComSec pay for the flights. So yes, thank you, Councillor Manson. Any other discussion? No, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Item 17.2, which is a notice of motion from Councillor Madden on a master plan for Rosewood Showgrounds. I'll hand over to you to move it, and then we'll find someone to second it. Then obviously you'll speak to it. So you'll move that, Councillor Madden, and. Microphone, Councillor Madden.
Yeah, for the benefit of the councillors unfamiliar with Rosewood Showgrounds, I thought I'd read the motion out there. So the motion is that the existing master plan for the Rosewood Showgrounds that was completed in 2016 be updated, and that a Shape Your Ipswich campaign be undertaken to obtain feedback to assist with the development of the revised master plan from residents and regular users of the showgrounds. That's the motion I'm moving there.
Thank you. And Councillor Matt Martin is seconding it. Thank you. Councillor Madden is the mover, please.
Yeah, as detailed in the motion, Mayor, the current master plan was completed in 2016 and well overdue for an update. Since that time, buildings have been demolished, buildings have been built, including a wonderful camp kitchen, shower and toilet block. The showgrounds is a centre of cultural activities. In fact, the name showgrounds is very misleading with regard to the Rosewood Showgrounds. There's a wide range of community events held there. I guess the pinnacle is the Christmas carnival that's held there, and organised by the local community centre. The tenants of the showground have an element of agriculture and an element of non-agriculture. They include the National Barrel Racing Association, the Queensland Barrel Racing Association, the Rosewood Hack and Pony Club, the Rosewood Show Society, and the South East Queensland Team Penning Association. But non-agricultural groups include the Rosewood Lions, they have a large building there, and the Rosewood Craft and Quilting Association, which have a more modest building. But there are also a wide range of groups that use the Rosewood Showgrounds that we don't call tenants, but pretty much use it nearly every night. And that's the Rosewood and District Support Centre and the Rosewood Pickleball Group, as well as the Rosewood Poultry Club. As I've tried to indicate, the Rosewood Showgrounds are much more than agricultural showgrounds. One thing that we have to deal with at the present time is a grant of $800,000, which Council has received a commitment to from the state government for lighting at the showgrounds. So that's something that can be dealt with the development of the master plan. The Shape Your Ipswich campaign will allow input from not just from the tenants or the regular users of the showgrounds, but the broader community and people that make use of the showgrounds. And I think one thing that we need to bear in mind with the master plan is accommodating more tenants. Just to give you an example, I'm not saying that they will make application, but I know at the present time the Rosewood Men's Shed have received notice that they have to vacate their premises. So an important thing about the development of the showgrounds is future needs as well as current needs. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Madden. Councillor Martin.
I think Councillor Madden touched on pretty well every people group in Rosewood, so I don't think there's much further to say.
They all use it.
It is well used, and it would be good to have a master plan so we can clarify some things. And as Councillor Madden said, pickleball have almost taken over use of the indoor facilities there, so look forward to seeing a master plan. Thank you.
It's okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you. I'll open it for other discussion. No? So discuss this, and I have, I guess, a couple of questions on this, and obviously I'm a big fan of the Rosewood Show Society and the work they do there and the facilities there. And I guess I'm just asking for this notice of motion is, this notice of motion didn't come with any background material or anything like that. So I know that there was a master plan done in 2016. I guess when I see this come, so I guess I'm asking what's the purpose of the master plan?
With respect, Mayor, I've done my best to outline the needs of the master plan, but I'm happy to reiterate that. I'm happy to reiterate the reasons we need a master plan. The last master plan was done over 10 years ago. A wide range of buildings have been demolished and a wide range of buildings. So if you look at the plan on the existing master plan, it doesn't bear any relationship to what exists currently at the showgrounds. But as well as that, it's clear that these Rosewood Showgrounds is the centre of activity for the Western Corridor. That goes from Carrabin through to Grantchester. And, you know, population's increasing, the needs of the community for the showgrounds are increasing. So we need a master plan, but I've given the example, Mayor, in the Shape Your Ipswich campaign that we have $800,000 to spend on lighting of the showgrounds, and I think the community should have input as to how that money is spent. And you mentioned the Rosewood Show Society. They put on a wonderful show there once a year, but the Pony and Hack Club are there every weekend. Pickleball are there nearly every night. There are a wide range of other groups that need to have a say in where the lighting goes at the showgrounds, and the Shape Your Ipswich campaign will assist with that.
Thank you. Have you spoken with officers regarding the estimated costs for the master plan?
No, I haven't, Mayor, but I've previously moved motions to have master plans prepared. Currently, I have a motion that a master plan be prepared for the Caledonian Park. And I received no feedback from council officers that it was an expensive project and that it was outside of what council could afford.
Has this been put forward as part of the budget bid process, a master plan?
No, Mayor, not this one, because of the urgency that we have to make a decision as to how we're going to spend the $800,000 for lighting at the showgrounds. And the development of the master plan is critical in determining how that money's spent. I know you've had discussions with the Rosewood Show Society, but I've spoken to the Pony and Hat Club, and they have their own views about the lighting, and I want to make sure that everyone gets input with regard to how the $800,000. So the urgency with regard to this matter.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Discussions? Comments? I guess, as I say, I am concerned with this motion because it does come to us without any background information provided in advance of this meeting or potential costings for the work to occur. And I appreciate it's been put forward in a well-meaning response to the advocacy of the Rosewood Show Society, and I believe that this would be better suited to a budget bid as part of our budget process, so it can be fairly assessed by all councils and divisions. At the very least, I think it'd be helpful for councillors the opportunity to review the 2016 master plan. That would be, I think, helpful for them to see this and the advice from the relevant council officers before council commits to this, because it is a considerable body of work. And in regards to the I guess the $800,000 that's from the state government. So yeah, I know the council's working with them on that.
As I've said, Mayor, there's urgency with regard to this matter about how that's done, and also urgency to make sure that all the relevant tenants, which, I mean, just as an example, the Rosewood Lions have a substantial building at the showgrounds, and they should be consulted with. They might say, well, we'd like lighting outside the road, outside our property. So that's the urgency.
And I just want to point that obviously we have 3 showgrounds with the Ipswich and the Marburg and Rosewood, and we spend more money on Rosewood. Obviously, it's a great arrangement that the Ipswich and the Marburg are financially sustainable. And I can't remember what year it was, but Ipswich City Council had to take on the ownership and the responsibility because of the Rosewood Show Society, not the current committee, but they weren't able to pay their bills. So I'm just very cognizant of the fairness and equity across the entire city, where we are spending millions of dollars into that showground and making sure that it's, I guess, fair across the city. That's why I guess I'd like to have more consideration. Yes, Councillor Doyle.
I think for the benefit
Sorry, Councillor Doyle had a hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Can I just double check, council officers won't be engaging with those users of the Rosewood Showgrounds ahead of installation of the lighting? That would be business as usual ordinarily.
So the actual, because it's an election commitment, the money was actually given to the Show Society.
Right.
But they obviously, with the landowner, they have to work with us. So,
But again,
yes,
they will be. I would assume there would be dialogue between the users or with the users out there. Are we suggesting that's not going to happen?
That's
and
my
then
understanding
secondly,
that
I
that's
just
happening.
thought to help inform our decision, because you pointed out, Mayor, we don't know what the scope of this one particularly looks like. It could become a little more complex given that it's not just a park, it's the showgrounds. Could we potentially, Councillor Madden, ask for a cost estimate for the development of the master plan so that we could make... Yeah? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I agree. I guess I'm just trying to understand the risk involved in installing lights incorrectly. And so, apologies, Chair, I probably do have questions for an appropriate officer now.
yeah, he's probably not here. It's usually Mr. Stewart has been working with the users, like Councillor Doyle said. Yeah, maybe Mr. Pole. I guess the question's around is council engaging the other users and groups that use the Rosewood Showground in regards to the placement and what kind of lights? Yeah, oh, sorry.
Through the Chair, thank you, Mr. Pole. Just in relation to the motion itself, the need for a master plan for the placement of lights and the risk associated if they're put in incorrectly. The funds are with the Show Society, and so they're asking for this master plan to better guide them in the placement.
No.
Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to pull everything together.
They want the master plan for 2016 to be in place.
Well, okay, so do you understand what, like the scope and maybe the financial outlay would be for something like this?
Sure. Ben Powell, General Manager, Community, Cultural and Economic Development. As it relates to the lighting, if maybe I just tackle that one quickly, and I'm giving you, to my best knowledge, input here. The project manager or the person in charge of managing this is not me, but to the best of my knowledge, the funding was secured by the Show Society, but given it is a council asset, there was a need for council to be involved in the delivery of that infrastructure. So we've taken on that role to ensure that it's delivered to standard and appropriately. But I suppose the funding would have been for a very specific implementation. And so we're ensuring that implementation is being achieved and to the appropriate certification, so to speak. I don't think the Show Society would have made their application necessarily considering the entire precinct. They would have been considering their specific needs. Now, I can't tell you whether or not their specific needs benefit the broader precinct and broader user group. I could get that information and bring that back to you, but I'd have to just check with the person in charge of managing this project. As it relates to a master plan, look, this is a significant council facility, and all council facilities can benefit from both a strategic planning, but also then an investment profile or portfolio. So there is absolutely benefit in having an updated master plan for that precinct. The question is, where does it fit or sit on the list of priorities? We have numerous precincts across the city that require this type of work to be done, this planning work, and the team, or it's probably 2, maybe 3 individuals who are responsible for that planning work within council, have a long list of facilities that they're currently working on. Some of the plans that the councillor has already mentioned, and more. So really it comes down to timing, prioritisation, and if there are costs involved, it's more those specialists, whether it be geotech or whatever it might be, depending on the size and scale of the planning, that would require further investment. If I use an example, the North Ipswich Reserve Master Plan, at the moment, that is being entirely resourced internally, so no additional costs. But if we need to then start scoping up new buildings, then geotech will need to be applied to that, and so you can start incurring those specialist costs to make sure that what's included in the master plan, you actually understand the impact or the influence. Don's coming through now, so he might be able to talk more specifically to the lighting project. But again, master plan, can it be done? Yes, it can be done. Would we have to come back to you and say, well, if we're going to prioritise this one, these are the ones that have to be deprioritised? More than likely, yes, because it's an unscheduled, unresourced, unbudgeted project that we would now have to take on.
Just to make it clear, I'm not proposing any new buildings be built.
And that would lessen, if it's simply look at what we've currently got, look at the how the assets are currently performing, then that can be done reasonably.
Councillor Augustine.
When's the deadline that this funding from that needs to be approved?
I think we got cast, Mr Stewart, who's actually managing the project, is now coming forth. Thank you, Mr Pole, for assisting us. So, Councillor Augustine, do you mind asking your question to Mr Stewart?
Oh, thank you, Mr Stewart. Just looking to find out when the 800,000 funding is to be spent.
Sure. From recall, it is June 30 next year, but I would need to confirm that back to you.
As in completed project?
Yes.
Okay. We're very keen to know, are you doing any consultation with the other user groups, or are you just working with the Rosewood Show Society?
The grant was allocated to the Rosewood Show Society as the landowners for the showground. a level of consultation needs to be conducted with council, and so council officers are involved in that process. We made it very clear to the Show Society late last year that consultation was a requirement of all user groups at the location, and in particular we had very clear instructions to both the state and back to us and the project manager to ensure consultation, shared designs and understanding power to the site was also there, and not additional requirement to the lighting project itself. So we've had a high level of engagement with the Show Society and the PM to date, and I can confirm that other groups are being consulted or will be consulted as we progress.
Just out of curiosity, are there some different needs?
Oh, look, I think...
I don't need to know the names of the organisations.
Yes, it would be fair to say that bull riding and horse riding are not the same, and you would need to have a level of lighting which is dictated effectively by the speed of the activity, right, as opposed to anything else. Okay. There is a safety requirement that is a bottom line, essential. However, the various activities that are undertaken there do require a lighting level that meets all activities.
Okay. So it would be fair to say that consultation with all the user groups at the Rosewood Showground is currently underway?
Yes, if it's not currently underway, it will be undertaken because it was made very clear at that meeting with the Show Society late last year. I do have an officer who is partaking in those sessions, so I can easily get an update.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Stewart. Any other questions of Mr Stewart? Yes, Councillor Madsen.
Given Councillor Madden has indicated that he wouldn't be seeking any new buildings or anything like that, and there's an existing master plan, I'd more so see this as an update to a master plan. Does that make it a much more simpler process than thinking of it as a brand new plan? I don't think there's any...
Yes. Sorry, Councillor. Yes, it does. I think examples of that have been undertaken with the North Ipswich Reserve Master Plan was an internally driven document that was taking an existing and updating and providing alternative considerations. We've done the same thing for the Caledonian facility, which was a BAU by internal officers taking an existing master plan and updating it. It would be my recommendation that that would be all that this particular project would require, is to assess the current layout and then look at what may be a more appropriate layout, given that is a 10-year-old master plan that we have on file.
So, Mr Stewart, are you saying that you could accommodate this, I'll say an update on the master without additional funding, or,
well,
or would something else have to drop off?
There would be something that would drop off. The reprioritisation of a BAU would be done internally again, I would suggest. That would then see other projects pushed back or delayed so that we could accommodate the review. I'm not a specialist in the master planning space. Our officers who do that are talented. They would need to provide a little bit more advice as to how much time they would require to do that job.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Madden.
Mr Stewart, would it be fair to say in those 10-year period, the groups that desire to use the showgrounds has increased? And I'm suggesting groups like the Pickleball Association, even the Quilters, you know, having their annual event out there. It's the way I see the showgrounds now, the term showgrounds is, you know, not exactly descriptive of the wide range of groups that use the showgrounds.
I think Rosewood Showground is an interesting and particular in terms of its variety and number of user groups. We have at one point 11 user groups out there. You failed to mention we have karate out there quite regularly as well. So yes, it's a facility that meets a diverse set of needs for the Rosewood locale. Over the last 10 years, we have had a relatively constant user group number, around about that 7, 8 or 9. A few new user groups have come in, such as pickleball, and I just guess that shows the demand for facilities, not just in Rosewood but across the city, that there's a massive shift towards multi-user facilities as opposed to singular or agricultural based in this case.
And one thing that should not be forgotten is the increased demand with the caravan park there, with events such as CMC Rocks and the racing, that it's turned into a critical bit of infrastructure with regard to people wanting to park their caravans there.
Yes, I don't think it can be argued. It's busy, but I think we go in ebbs and flows across the Rosewood area in terms of its demand. CMC in particular drives that level of demand. So it's an evolving beast, is what I would best describe the facility, and perhaps that a review of its current makeup and design is warranted to understand how better to maximise its use.
Mr. Stewart.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Stewart? No. Thank you so much, Mr. Powell. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Thank you for doing it at short notice. I'd like to put that each year since becoming mayor, I have met with the Rosewood Show Society, and so very intimately aware of the. You've joined it yourself and Councillor Martin, and the previous Division 4 councillors in the previous term did as well, having that annual meeting, working through the master plan. And certainly council was very strong in advocating getting that $800,000 because that was one of the priorities. It's the reason why I think over $1 million was spent on the amenities block there for the toilets, it's a great, the showers, the toilets, the barbecue. It's a really great facility, as well as other upgrades that have happened there. Footpaths that have been built. So we're sort of working our way through that master plan, and yeah, and obviously, so I'm supportive conceptually of updating the master plan. However, without all the other information, I think it should be part of a budget workshop where we can, as a council, decide it and prioritise it in accordance with all things. That's where I stand. But that's the only reason why I'd be voting against it, was because I think it should be part of a budget discussion. It's not that I'm against an update, just that we should do that.
Mayor, if there's no further question, I'd ask the motion be put.
Yep, okay. No worries. I was about to do that anyway, if that's okay. That's okay. I was going to actually just check, you have a right of reply, Councillor Madden? I'm now, I haven't seen anyone else put their hand up. Okay. In that case, I'll just say Councillor Madden has actually asked for the motion to be put, because we've had to, actually we have to have one.
Be put if there's no further questions.
If there's no further questions, okay. Councillor Madsen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm happy to support the motion today, and I thank the Division 4 councillors for raising it. The growth that's anticipated out towards Rosewood and Walloon is substantial, but these facilities also service a number of rural suburbs in Division 1. These community facilities will be under increased stress as a result of the population growth out there. And I've previously supported the master plan for Caledonian Park at Thaguna. I'll be supporting this one today because it's vital that we have the planning in place ahead of the people arriving. And I want regular user groups of facilities like Caledonian Park and today the Rosewood Showgrounds to know that we want to support them. But we've also got this other increased demand. So it's great to get the planning documents in place, and I actually think it's enough of a priority to commit to it today, and I'll be voting to support the motion.
Thank you. Any other questions, statements? I just note that we have been advised by council that something else will have to drop off, so something else that we've agreed to, something else that I'm not sure what that will be, and I don't, the council officers know yet, but something else will have to drop off. You could say something, Deputy Mayor?
Just through you, Chair, will that be a definite, or will there be like a reallocation of funds or something that can't be delivered on time? There's always like movement in budgets based on.
And I'd say we don't know. That's why it'd be good to come to a budget workshop.
Yeah. I'm just going to mention, sorry, Councillor Doyle, that timing constraint too, and then the delay of getting that, like once we go through the budget discussion and then enact it, and then just looking at the complexities of maybe what's getting asked for. Like I don't put it to the scale of the North Ipswich Reserve Master Plan, but thank you, Chair.
Yeah. And I'd say with the lighting money, there's already a plan in place. We have someone's project managing that, and so that won't be impacted at all. If the master plan doesn't go ahead, it won't impact the lighting project. Councillor Doyle.
Chair, I just wondered if there was the ability, given that Mr Poll has said that there'll need to be a reprioritisation of existing plans, to accommodate this one, and giving commentary from other councillors about, the concern it will impact on projects potentially in their division. Is there ability to limit the reprioritisation and reordering of priority, you know, amongst the division.
As in, only prioritise the Division 4 project, is that what you're...
Yeah. Is there something that's higher in the queue that's being worked on at the moment that we could hit pause on and start work on this instead? I
guess
might
I'll
be an
ask the Division 4 councillors, do you
oversimplification.
have of the master, any of those master plans in, no, you've got North Ipswich Reserve, New Caledonian Park, or Caledonian Park. How would you prioritise them?
Mayor, I think the use of the term dropping off is inaccurate. Projects might be delayed slightly, but the Caledonian Park is being dealt with. Caledonian Park master plan preparation being dealt with right now, and it's being dealt with very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're almost at the stage to advertise Shape Your Ipswich. So again, and I can't emphasise this enough, we're simply updating an existing master plan to reflect what is at the showgrounds now. We're not designing buildings, we're not building buildings. It's a relatively as Mr Stewart said, it's a relatively straightforward project to simply update the master plan to reflect the existing buildings at the showgrounds and to engage the community through a Shape Your Ipswich campaign.
Okay. Would that be your right of reply if there's...
I was really answering your question there,
Okay.
but I'll
If
be
there's-
guided by you when questions
If there's nothing
cease.
else,
Oh,
I'm happy.
sorry,
Okay.
Mayor.
We'll get there,
Sorry.
Councillor Madden. Yes, Councillor
Sorry,
Lucy.
me personally would like to know a little bit more about it. We've said it's a bit of a emergency. I think I was walking in when I got that word. You know, we've spoken before in today about just bringing things to council without us, you know, getting enough information, you know. So for me, I don't know if one of the projects that I'm passionate about would be moved. So in all good faith, I'd like to know a little bit more information. Nothing against it. I think Rosewood is an emerging suburb that needs you know, infrastructure and updating of plans, but in this case, I would like a little bit more information before I vote for it in the positive. Thank you.
Councillor Tully?
Yeah, I'll be relatively brief. What I've heard, I think it's a fairly minor review, that some buildings are gone, so they'd be removed from the plan. No new buildings are included, and just, I presume, a review of the existing uses. You mentioned pickleball and other uses which have come to the fore. So I think this is a fairly minor thing, time-wise and in detail, I think, from both points of view, and that's why I'd support it. I don't think it's going to have a major impact on the budget, and I'm sure if it did, the Division 4 councillors would be able to find the money in their division.
I'd say that any master plan would involve quite a bit of consultation in the community as well, because of how significant it is, and noting that the current master plan, like I said, I'm not philosophically against it, because there are some things in the current master plan which council might be able to deliver on. I mean, we're being asked to spend millions of dollars on adjacent land to be car parks for an event that happens once a year. So I'm not opposed. I just want to do it I just wanted to have more information and have it costed and know what's dropping off. We have had advice from council officers that something will have to drop off, and noting that the urgency was around the lighting, and that's already being addressed. Councillor Tully, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was just going to reiterate what Councillor Tully said in line with Councillor Madsen. I took a great deal of comfort in what Mr Stewart had to say, that this would be relatively minor. So rather than using your term of dropping off, it's more or less something might just get pushed back a bit in the queue rather than dropping off. And the fact that if this is as minor as Mr Stewart seemed to highlight, I can't see this being an overly incumbent matter on our budget.
Thank you. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Mayor. Just thinking further, and I'm hearing there's support in the room because it looks like it's just a bit of a refresh, light update to the existing master plan with redundant buildings or whatever removed and no new buildings proposed. So I would be agreeable to that on that basis. However, I do note that the way that this motion is worded, we're going to do a Shape Your Ipswich campaign to get feedback with the development of the revised master plan from residents and regular users. So with that feedback, that's going to be used to inform the new master plan. And if we get advice from community groups that they're looking for additional buildings to undertake some kind of sport, that will obviously take that master plan to the next level as far as resourcing and the work required. So I'm just wondering, could Councillor Madden potentially fine-tune to make it very clear that we're all agreeing to a refresh, a redraft, and post Shape Your Ipswich consultation with the community, any significant updates required to the master plan would be treated separately?
I think any consultation where we tell residents and you can't include any new buildings will not go down well.
No, and
they do
they're
want
going
more
to
buildings.
provide a lot of great feedback, and it will really inform the process. This is an important piece of work. I absolutely agree with that. But what I don't want to commit to is the next leg of that work without knowing the costs. That's all.
And we know there's, at the moment, with the pickleball in the poultry shed, that there's a conflict there straight away, so we know we need to build another building there.
Is it just the addition of an additional sentence? The inclusion of an additional sentence that post the Shape Your Ipswich feedback, council officers will provide a report on significant amendments to the plan.
I'd be fine with that, as an additional paragraph. I'd be fine with that, Councillor Doyle, once I see the words.
Yeah.
Done some good work today with your amendments, Councillor Doyle.
The existing master plan for the Rosewood showgrounds, which is going to be updated, and be updated to reflect current
I should
use.
say,
And
Councillor Doyle,
sorry.
I'm not agreeable to amending the motion, but I'm
Okay.
agreeable if you want to add a sentence.
Okay. Should be undertaken to obtain feedback to assist with the development. Well, it's okay. Any significant amendments required to the master plan after the Shape Your Ipswich campaign that might require funding would first be presented to council?
Well, that would happen anyway.
I'm open, Councillor Madden, to...
That would happen anyway.
Will be further considered by council.
I mean, that would happen anyway.
Would be further considered, yeah.
Just the words significant amendments required to the master plan. Well, when you take buildings out and you put buildings in, that's significant. I'm just thinking about some other words. I mean, the master plan's not going to recommend any new buildings. The Shape Your Ipswich might recommend some buildings, but not the master plan.
The Shape Your Ipswich consultation will absolutely...
So, but that sentence, that's what it says, that any significant amendments required to the master plan after the Shape Your Ipswich campaign.
I know what you're trying to achieve. I think instead of talking about this Shape Your Ipswich campaign, should Shape Your Ipswich campaign suggest new buildings at the showgrounds, that a report be presented to council for those new buildings?
Okay, so potentially we then say, should the Shape Your Ipswich campaign identify community need or desire?
Won't any new master plan come back to the council to endorse anyway?
Yeah, I'd
We're
say that
absolutely
this is probably
boiling the
redundant.
frog on
Yeah.
this.
It'd come back to us anyway.
How about we just leave it as it is, Councillor Doyle? The master plan will come back.
Yeah.
It'll simply be a plan. The Shape Your Ipswich report will be presented. It'll simply be a report. No money's going to be spent based on the Shape Your Ipswich campaign or the master plan revision. No money's going to be spent building buildings. With respect, Councillor Doyle, I'm just going to move the existing motion.
Okay. Is there any other discussions? Can we move to Councillor Madden's right of reply? Councillor Madden, your right of reply, so after that we'll vote. Thank you. Take your time, that's okay.
I'm a little bit surprised this has attracted so much comment
Microphone.
Didn't even finish the
I know.
amendment.
I'm a little bit surprised that it's attracted so much comment, but I'm fine with that. I mean, I've learned a few things from Mr. Stewart and Mr. Pyle about what's happening with other projects. But look, I'd be grateful if the councillors would support this, as has been mentioned by other councillors. And Mr. Stewart. This is a relatively minor exercise. Certainly, Shape Your Ipswich, isn't a minor exercise. But I think at various times we have to seek input from the community about what happens with major infrastructure. And this is a great opportunity for us to seek input from the community as to how they want the showgrounds used in the future. And it may well be that something comes out of that community consultation from left field that ourselves and council officers just aren't aware of. But I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you. I put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's everyone in the room except for myself and Councillor Augustine. Those against, myself and Councillor Augustine. Thank you for the respectful discussion. Really appreciate it, and thank you very much for fighting for
I agree. Thank
our
you
community.
for the respectful discussion, councillors.
It's now 12:01, so I'll say we'll break till 12:31. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Come back at 12:31. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I'll put that to the vote. My apologies. That's everyone except for Councillor Madsen. Those against, Councillor Madsen. Thank you. Welcome back to the Ordinary Council meeting, the 26th of March 2026. It's now 12:32 and we just had our lunch adjournment. We're now on to item 17.3, which is a notice of motion from Councillor Antonelli, and it's a notice of motion on the investigation into an operation of intersections of Bermuda and Law Street and Burn, Mary and Law Streets in Bundamba. So obviously, Councillor Antonelli, you're moving that, and I believe is it Councillor Doyle seconding that?
I might take the opportunity to read it if that's all right, Mayor.
And
that the council, Ipswich City Council, investigate the current capacity and operation of the intersections of Bermuda and Law Street, Bundamba, and Burn, Mary and Lawn Streets, Bundamba. 2, investigate potential short and long-term safety improvements at these intersections. And 3, prepare a report to be presented at a future meeting of the Infrastructure, Planning and Assets Committee by the June 2026 meeting of that committee.
thank you. And Councillor Doyle, you're seconding that. Thank you. Councillor Antonelli, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As I've highlighted, this relates to the current capacity and operation of intersections in Bundamba, 2 particular ones, that being Bognuna and Law Streets, and the other being Burn, Mary and Law Streets. People would be aware that that these intersections are up near the Bundamba TAFE, and they are increasing in traffic quite regularly now, and that's as a result of a number of new developments in that area, be they residential or the attractions of some of the other developments in City Switch area, particularly Costco and what will be opening soon, the new Area 51. The residents of this area, many of them have contacted myself, Councillor Doyle, and I understand, Mayor, you've also had approaches from many residents in that area requesting Council assist in the safety of these intersections primarily because of the level of traffic increase that has occurred. Now, this is not unique to this particular part of Ipswich. We know that there are other areas as well, but the problem in this location is that there is going to be a new development occur near the Bundamba TAFE, which will also increase traffic and traffic demand. Again, as I said before, Area 51 as well. But there's been, you can read the background at your own wish, and I would expect that my colleagues here have read the background with interest, and they can probably nominate some of their own intersections or have in their own mind some other intersections in their area that have been impacted by intensive residential, commercial, retail and industrial development. And in this instance, it is a major connection road between the Warrego Highway and Brisbane Road. So these residents have a right to be concerned. They're seeing more and more cars and trucks than ever on the roads. That's their claim. They report that the intersections, these particular intersections, have become increasingly hazardous due to the volume and speed of vehicles and the behaviour of some of the drivers. Now, there's very little we can do with respect to behaviour of drivers, but certainly the movements of traffic around there is something that perhaps we can look to improve. Pedestrians, cyclists and mobility device users struggle to safely cross in those areas. So neither of these intersections are signalised in any way, or they are just simple 4-way intersections. And I just wish to acknowledge that Council has issued an information request to Economic Development Queensland regarding the traffic impact assessment submitted with their development application over 19 River Road, which includes a request for a revised traffic impact assessment and the provision of a roundabout at the intersection of Burn, Mary and Law Streets as part of that portion of the development. However, beyond that potential upgrade of that intersection, there is very little that can be imposed upon the developer. But we are asking Council to come back to us with hopefully some solutions in line with the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Antonelli, for arranging this notice of motion, and thank you to our office staff for drafting the motion, as Councillor Antonelli pointed out, we are regularly contacted by our residents at this particular location. It's been an ongoing issue this term as well as last term of council. We've raised the concerns many times within council here to see if we can deliver any upgrades to local traffic network, including potentially our ability to condition various approvals in relation to the infill development, putting the onus on the developers to try and deliver upgrades to these, in particular, these two intersections, to incorporate signalisation, certainly at the intersections of Mary and Burn Streets. We've also asked council officers if there's funding available for trunk infrastructure on and around the infill development. This issue is not just limited to this site at Bundamba, it's a citywide problem. And my understanding so far is that there's limited opportunities, certainly for council, to seek any type of or make an application for funding, for instance, via the Residential Activation Fund. Those monies are likely to be spent or delivered only for the infrastructure required within the new development. So the roads within, if we're talking about the Bundamba site that EDQ's taken to the market, the streets within that little development. But once the traffic leaves that, they will spill out into the existing roads that are decades old. They were built many years ago to a different standard. And it's already a very heavily congested area. So far, practically, the things that we've tried to do, we've had the width of Mary Street past the TAFE, the width of the road, checked by council officers. They've undertaken that work for us because we've had residents express a concern that it is far too narrow once traffic is parked on either side of the road for two vehicles to pass each other safely, and in particular buses when they come through, it becomes very narrow. We have also suggested reducing the number of on-street car parks, and that would force vehicles to park in the TAFE car park, reducing the visual congestion that residents argue impact their ability to safely navigate the area. So we have already worked on a couple of minor solutions that we could implement with council officers. So this piece of work will be important, but it's just the beginning. Once that work is done, we will need to continue advocacy, we'll need to commence advocacy to see if we can actually get funding to implement any tangible outcomes from that traffic study. And I haven't spoken to our policy executive rep, Councillor Tully, yet, but I'm proposing a motion to the conference this year to write to the state government to try and identify funding that can be made available to local governments that are bearing the burden of this infill development, which is needed to service our booming populations, but it's happening in our older suburbs where the road network is already congested, and the developments themselves are not big enough to allow a council to condition them for the developer to, for instance, deliver signalisation, which you would ordinarily see in somewhere like of Ripley or Springfield, where it's a very large development. For the smaller infill, we don't have the opportunity to do that. The Residential Activation Fund, it's unlikely, I've been given preliminary advice by council officers, we wouldn't be successful in obtaining funding for the surrounding local traffic network. So, yeah, I think it's important we start advocating. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? For myself, I understand this has been an issue for residents, and I know that yourself, Councillor Anthony, and Councillor Doyle have been had visits come to you for some time, and they've been coming to my office. And as our city grows at a rapid pace, traffic on our local roads has also increased, particularly as this growth has occurred alongside a lack of investment into improving or expanding public transport. And while Council does factor this into planning and prioritisation of capital works, This motion, I think, is very well formed with great background information and is framed in a way that will allow council officers to consider the concerns raised by residents and the relevant data and respond to us accordingly. And I'll just double check, CEO, the June 2026 deadline, is that workable?
I'm advised, Chair, that it is.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just with respect, thank you, Mayor, but just with respect to part 3 of the recommendation, or the motion, I should say, I have nominated June 2026 there. It is a rather clunky wording there, but it does provide the opportunity for officers to present the report prior to that date, if one can be done. So it leaves that door open. So I would like to say that, as we all know, even our busiest roads tend to have quiet periods. And this being the type of road that it is, it does have quiet periods. But during the peak times, it is quite impassable at times. And for particularly the residents who live in that area, who want to be able to walk, ride, and enjoy their local surrounds, it's becoming increasingly difficult. But it's also becoming increasingly difficult to navigate these intersections for drivers. So certainly I thank my fellow councillor Marnie Doyle in her support for this and recognising the need to go forward, and I'm sure that the residents of that area who have approached us in relation to this matter are appreciative of this motion as well.
Thank you. Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We now have a joint notice of motion from myself and Councillor Tully on representation of the Queensland Redistribution Committee. You did most of the work on this, Councillor Tully. Do you want to move it and I'll second it? You happy for that? You'll move that? And I'll second it and I'll hand over to yourself to speak to it. Oh.
Yeah, I've formally seconded that, and I will move the amendment as circulated.
Thank you, and I'm happy to agree to that, and I'll just let the Secretariat bring that up.
Probably, and there'd be people watching who might not, have seen this, but I will read out the wording there because I think it encapsulates everything and the reasons for this. This is in relation to the new boundaries of the 93 state electorates in Queensland. I'll just give a preliminary comment that there's a new seat of Greenbank, which includes a small segment of Ipswich, and that probably is not a desirable outcome. One of the other changes is that the seat of Scenic Rim has been renamed Beaudesert, and that the Scenic Rim currently includes a small area of Ipswich around Willowbank. That's changed. There's no part of Scenic Rim or the future Beaudesert seat, which will be within the city of Ipswich. And I think councillors have probably seen this. What the gist of this is that there's a small, the suburb of Ripley itself is within the new seat of Redbank, or the new proposed seat of Redbank. South Ripley is going to be in the new electorate of Greenbank, which goes basically right down to Flagstone. So I'll just read the commentary and the objection, which we're entitled to submit, and submissions have to be in, I believe, by the 9th of April, that there is no common community of interest between South Ripley and any of the Logan City suburbs in the proposed new Greenbank electoral district, from Greenbank in the north to South Maclean in the south. 2, that the Ripley Valley, along with Springfield, is one of the 2 fastest growing areas of Ipswich, and the inclusion of part of the Ripley Valley into the Greenbank electorate based on Logan City is neither appropriate nor desirable. 3, splitting any part of the Ripley Valley into a Logan City-based electorate is not conducive to professional local representation for the people of Ipswich or Logan. 4, it would be more appropriate for South Ripley to be included in one of the adjacent Ipswich-based electorates. 5, residents of South Ripley would be forced to travel through 2 other state electorates, namely Redbank and Springfield, to visit their state member whose Greenbank electorate office is likely to be located in the Greenbank to Flagstone area. 6, Ripley and South Ripley comprise one very strong community of interest which should be preserved. And the amendment is if this submission is accepted, the area of the Ipswich suburb of Spring Mountain, this is an additional amendment, there's a small section of Spring Mountain which doesn't have, it's in the part of the conservation estate. It's adjacent to the new seat of Springfield, and that's included in this Greenbank proposal. So I'll just read that in full. If this submission is accepted, the area of the Ipswich suburb of Spring Mountain, which is included in the proposed electorate of Greenbank, should be included in the proposed electorate of Springfield, which would ensure that the entire suburb of Spring Mountain is included in the proposed electorate of Springfield. There are no residents in that area. It's currently in the seat of Jordan, and it would make more sense then. That would then complete the proposal that none of the seat of Greenbank should be included within the city of Ipswich. I think that probably substantially covers the area. Having looked at, can I say this, that when redistributions occur at state and federal level, I've been seeing many of them over the years, there don't seem to be many wholesale changes once the public's invited to comment on the proposals which has come out. Our proposal is relatively minor if this goes through council. It's just to take out that South Ripley suburb, put it into an Ipswich electorate, and just move forward. Otherwise, that would give us, I think, 6 state members who'd be representing all or part of the city of Ipswich. So I might leave it there, Mayor, and you and others can comment on it as well.
Thank you. And as the seconder, I'd like to thank you, Councillor Tully, for working on this joint notice of motion together, which recognises the obvious benefits of keeping Ipswich suburbs in Ipswich-based state electorates. Given the significant growth in our city since the last redistribution, and at that last redistribution, a new seat was created, the seat of Jordan. But since that last redistribution was finalised almost a decade ago, it's not surprising to see the significant changes proposed for the Ipswich region by the Queensland Redistribution Commission. However, they remain in the proposal stage until the 9th of April, allowing council and our residents to have their say on these changes up until then. This motion proposes that we take the opportunity on behalf of the residents of South Ripley and Spring Mountain in particular to ensure that Ipswich residents are afforded local representation at a state level. I'll open it for other discussion. Councillor Augustine.
Mayor, I wholeheartedly support this motion. The people of South Ripley are very concerned. There's been a couple that have raised concerns of being disjointed from their state member, and I just feel that having South Ripley part of the Ipswich cohort would be more acceptable to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Antonelli?
Yes, sometimes when we see these boundary changes, they sometimes don't make sense, but I do want to say that with respect to these motions that have been put before us, they make complete sense, and let's hope that the Electoral Commission see it accordingly.
Thank you, Councillor Antonelli. Any other discussion? Councillor Madden?
Mayor, I attended the Carolee Community Association meeting last night, and a large group of people attended the meeting, and they expressed concerns about the suburbs of Chua, Carolee and Browland Point shifting from the current electorate of Ipswich West to the electorate of Moggill. Too late for me to contribute to this motion, unfortunately, but I thought it was worthy of mention that there is another part of Ipswich that is concerned about the proposed boundaries.
My microphone's playing up. Oh, it's come back on now. Sorry. No, thank you very much, Councillor Madden. Councillor Martin?
Yeah, I was just going to concur the same with Councillor Madden, that residents of Carolee, they always say they're the forgotten suburb of Ipswich, and once again, they believe they have grounds for concern that they are going to the seat of Moggill. So I would also like to see that, and yeah, unfortunately didn't get to see Councillor Tully before the motion, but would also have liked to have seen that Carolee, Chua, Barallan Point stayed in Ipswich West.
That's interesting, because I had a lot of residents of Carolee who were very happy with the redistribution. So yeah, I guess it's, yeah. But I wasn't at the meeting last night. Any other discussion? I'll hand over to you, Councillor Tully, for a right of reply.
Thanks, Mayor. I think it's pretty obvious from the mover and seconder that this is not party politically based. It's for the good of Ipswich, and it's being put forward. And I think councils around Queensland are entitled to do that. when it's not done for a party political advancement, it's just for the benefit of the city. And that is a separate issue. It's a very large area with a reasonable population in that model-based electorate going across the Brisbane River. But anyone's entitled to put in a submission till the night of individual councillors can do that, as they could with this one with the Greenbank electorate. So in advance, I'd like to thank councillors for that, and just to make it clear that this is sort of not just a one-way street for one particular party or the other.
Thank you. Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Item 18, questions on notice. There are none. So I'll close the meeting now at 12:53 p.m. Thank you very much.